Pull $1 out of your wallet right now. Seriously. Go get one. I'll wait. Look at it. Really look at it. It's a piece of paper. Cotton and linen, actually, 75% cotton, 25% linen. With some green ink, a dead president's face, and a pyramid with a floating eye that's been confusing stoners since 1935. That thing in your hand? The government will tell you it's worth $1. But here's what they won't tell you. It is worth exactly nothing. Physically. Materially. If you showed that piece of paper to someone who had never participated in the American economy, someone who'd never been told the rules, they would use it to start a fire. The only reason that dollar buys you anything, a coffee, a gallon of gas, a sad vending machine sandwich, is because 330 million Americans woke up this morning and collectively agreed, without ever having a meeting about it, to keep pretending that it does. Money is a shared hallucination. A collective act of faith so total, so automatic, that we stop noticing it's happening. And here's the insane part. This hallucination has been running continuously for over 5,000 years. Through empires, wars, plagues, depressions, and the 2008 financial crisis, which somehow made the people who caused it richer. The specific stuff we use as money has changed dozens of times. Clay, shells, gold, paper, numbers on a screen. But the agreement, the mass delusion, has never stopped. Which raises a question nobody ever actually answers. How did this start? Who looked at a rock or a shell or a strip of metal and said this is what we're going to organize our entire civilization around? And why did everyone else go along with it? That's what this video is. And I promise you, the real answer is nothing like what they taught you in school. Let's start by destroying the story you were definitely taught in school. Before money, there was barter. You had chickens. I had apples. We swapped. Everybody walked away happy. The economy ran great. And then some smart guy invented coins and everything got even better. Simple. Clean. Logical. There is zero, and I mean zero, anthropological evidence that any human society ever actually worked this way at scale. Adam Smith, the godfather of modern economics, described this barter society in his 1776 book The Wealth of Nations. And for 250 years, every economics textbook in America repeated it as established fact. The only problem? Adam Smith made it up. He had no data, no fieldwork, no actual examples. He described a hypothetical primitive society based entirely on what he assumed must have happened before money existed. Anthropologists have been studying real pre-money societies for 2 centuries. They have traveled to every corner of the world, documented hundreds of cultures at various stages of economic development, and not one, not a single one, ran on pure barter the way economics textbooks describe. So what did they find instead? Debt. Before coins, before clay tablets, before any physical object we'd recognize as currency, there were obligations. You helped me during harvest. I owe you. Your family and mine have a relationship. The whole community runs on a web of favors, debts, and reputation, tracked not in a ledger but in social memory. The anthropologist David Graeber spent decades researching this. His conclusion flipped everything. Money didn't replace barter. Money replaced debt. It gave humans a way to settle obligations with strangers, people outside their immediate community, people they'd never see again, people they couldn't trust to remember the debt. The very first purpose of money wasn't to buy things. It was to tell a stranger, we're even now. Let that sit for a second. Because it completely changes how you think about every dollar you've ever spent. The oldest physical money we've ever found is roughly 5,000 years old. And it wasn't coins, wasn't gold, wasn't anything shiny. It was clay tablets. Small, palm-sized, baked clay tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, the region we now call Iraq, covered in cuneiform script that recorded amounts of barley and silver owed to temples in the city of Uruk. The first bank in human history was a temple, and the first bankers were priests. Here's how it worked. A farmer would bring grain to the temple, which functioned as a grain storage facility, a religious center, and a financial institution simultaneously. The priests would weigh the grain, record the deposit on a clay tablet, and hand the farmer a receipt. That receipt could then circulate. The farmer could use it to pay a craftsman. The craftsman could use it to pay a merchant. Nobody had to carry the grain. The receipt was the money. If that sounds exactly like how a checking account works, it's because it is exactly how a checking account works. We've been running this same system for 5 millennia. We just swapped the clay for a server farm in New Jersey. Now, at the exact same time, 2,600 miles away, with zero contact with Mesopotamia, something completely different was happening in China. Merchants were using cowrie shells as currency. Small, white, naturally standardized. Every shell is roughly the same size and weight. By around 1200 BC, the Shang dynasty was casting bronze coins in the shape of cowrie shells. Think about what that means. The shell had become so trusted, so universally accepted as money, that when there weren't enough real shells to keep the economy running, the government started manufacturing fake shells out of metal. The very first government-issued currency in history was a counterfeit of a natural object. We've been counterfeiting our own money ever since. We just stopped pretending it's a shell. Around 600 BC, a king named Aliats, ruler of Lydia, a kingdom in what is now Western Turkey, minted what historians consider the first true coins in the Western world. Electrum, a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver, stamped with a lion's head, guaranteed by the king to contain a specific, standardized amount of precious metal. And this is the moment where the most successful lie in financial history begins. For the next 2,500 years, right up until 1971, which we'll get to, humans told themselves that gold had inherent value, that it was fundamentally different from clay tablets or shells or scraps of paper. That gold was real money because gold was a real, physical, valuable thing. But ask yourself, valuable why? Gold is a soft metal. Terrible for tools, copper is harder. Terrible for weapons, iron is stronger. You can't eat it. You can't burn it for warmth. It's heavy and inconvenient to transport. It's found in the ground in places that are extremely difficult to get to. The only practical application it had for most of human history was looking pretty. Gold became universal money for one reason. Everyone agreed it mattered. That's it. That's the whole story. Which is the same reason a dollar works. Or a Bitcoin. Or a cowrie shell worked in 1200 BC China. The material has never been the point. The collective agreement has always been the point. What gold did, what made it genuinely useful as money, is that it was rare enough to be hard to counterfeit, durable enough to not rot, and divisible enough to make change.